Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Harakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone that rule well. And Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of Syrian truth. Got this article on the Seattle Times about Soylent Green. It's funny because film's based in 2022, sorry. And you've had a couple of these films where they're basically looking to the future and kind of they're pushing out certain vibrations, man. That's more or less what it's doing. So it's like the Soylent Green is that new world order, man, which is what you see in a lot of these so-called far future post-apocalyptic films that they're making, like 1984 and whatnot. Same vibration. So it's on the Seattle Times. It says in 1973, Soylent Green envisioned the world in 2022. It got a lot right. It says the year is 2022. Our overpopulated planet is experiencing catastrophic climate change. Mega corporations have excessive power over the government, and clean living is a luxury only the 1% can afford. You may read like a scan of the front page headlines, but these predictions were laid out half a century ago in the dystopian film Soylent Green. Hundreds of films have attempted to visualize a future. Most didn't do a great job. Freejack 1992 imagined widespread time-traveling assassins by 2009, while Box Office Bomb The Postman 1977 predicted 2013 would be post-apocalyptic. It's post-apocalyptic for some people. It says, but about 50 years ago, Hollywood's prognosticators seemed to hit. Men said prognosticators, They might as well get, because that's the vibration, man. Isaiah 47. What does it say? Isaiah 47:13 says, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Yeah. So those prognosticators, those are part of Esau's power structure. That's part of how Esau rules. That's part of how he exerts power on earth. He basically is trying to look and take control of the future, and part of that, putting that vibration out, is in a lot of these movies. That's why you have movies like The Matrix, what's it called, Resurrections coming out. You had you've had they go into a couple of these films. You had a lot of films basically where it's set in a post-apocalypse, or where there's been a virus that's gone out, or there's been what's it called as well, like World War III, or America's blown to shit. And these are all vibrations being pushed out by the elites, because why? They're trying to get their vibration of they're trying to push out their vibration of what they desire to come to pass. Because for these guys, they're thinking they're gonna rule forever. They're gonna be in power. They're trying to make that happen, despite what prophecy says. So it says in 1972, the Planet of the Apes franchise released its fourth film, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. It's set in the year 1991 and imagines Earth in the grip of a lethal pandemic. Draw your own comparisons, to all them diseases. And yeah, even Planet of the Apes as well, because that is basically about what Jake. This is the only way that Esau could have a film putting Jake in power, which is like, I don't know how in Hollywood, like, you haven't, like, other than that, there's just not been able to be like, okay, we're gonna have the righteous Israelites ruling over the earth. That's just not something that's ever been no one ever came with that, like, oh, let's have let's just have a bunch of black men ruling over the earth, but you can have monkeys. Because why? That's a vibration that they don't even want to mess with. When they do it, it's like clowning with Planet of the Apes. But then what they had, what was it? Was it Dr. Zaius, I think, with the 12 gems on his chest? Oh no, it's a statue. It was a statue. They had the statue. I think it was in the first film, and the second one, where he has a statue with the 12 gems on his chest, just like the garment that I believe Levitical priests would have. So it says, okay, but Silent Green, released in 1973 and based on a novel by Harry Harrison, was even more eerily prescient. It's set in the then far-off future of 2022. It stars Charlton Heston, known for playing Moses in the Ten Commandments. Interesting they bring up that role, Moses in the Ten Commandments. But yeah, this guy was a golden boy. He was in Planet of the Apes too. For being 5-time president of the NRA, as Thorne, a New York police detective, and the planet he inhabits looks a lot like ours. The plot centers on a murder investigation, but let's examine which of the film's social predictions have come true now that we've reached the year of its setting. And this is the biggest one, because if you watched it, it's what Silent Green is the food made from dead bodies, man. And that's a vibration you had going out hella, where it's like, oh, there's food, we need to make shit burgers, we need to make fly burgers, we need to make but food and meat out of everything except for actual animals and actual grains. It needs to go completely synthetic. And that's what's his name, like Bill Gates was pushing that heavily. They're saying genetically they're growing artificial beef and whatnot. Saying oh, you can't even tell what the fuck, and this is the thing is there's no where does the need for this come in? This is complete insanity. But okay, it says as long ago. Oh, well, okay. Let me read it first. As long ago as the Jetsons in 1962, TV shows and movies have depicted humans ditching meals for nutritional pills. And that was in I think first time I saw it was when I was a kid watching The Fifth Element, because I remember The Fifth Element. There's a scene where she puts like a pill in a microwave, and then it spins round and then dings, and then she just brings out like a big turkey or whatever. So that's something that they've been pushing out heavy. And even in the original Matrix, they mention it in the new one, how in the original Matrix they were just eating like synthetic slop. That was basically just like nutrients and fuck knows what. So that that vibration's been pushed out to try and just get people like, look, rather than fucking with actual food, just deal with some kind of synthetic nonsense. But then it's as far as with that, like these, and this is it's just wickedness, because bruh, there's no need. It's like a lot of the issues that people have is they just got abysmal diets. Like the food that's pushed out, especially in America, where food is wild, man. That's why it's like I think in America it's like the majority of people are overweight and obese. Because why? It's like being in shape isn't the popular look. Most people are overweight because why? It's there. It's just gone rampant on consumption. So it says what? In Silent Green, it's a switch we make out of necessity. Overconsumption has caused fresh produce to become scarce. A head of lettuce, 2 tomatoes, and a leek retail for $279, and a sliver of beef is the ultimate luxury. Yeah. So even food, becoming overpriced. That's famine. The evil arrows of famine. We get that actually. Is it in? Because it might be. Yeah. Ezekiel 5:16, it says, "When I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction, and which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine upon you, and will break the staff of bread." Yeah, that staff of bread. It's gonna be broken. That's something that you see happening. You've had various issues in like the production lines. The main one, like recently, was the amount of staff being able to keep up with the turnover of how much what's the word? Not desire, thingy and demand. Yeah, the demand. It's not been able to keep up. Supply and demand, that's what I was thinking of. It's not the amount of people working haven't been able to keep up with the demand. So that's where it's like, even if there's been food, the same. It's like in the UK with certain harvests, because a bunch of people from the EU, mostly Eastern Europeans, went back home because they were like, fuck this Brexit shit. A lot of shit wasn't harvested, and that's gonna lead to shortages, and it's like that's gonna compound as well year on year. And as well with the grain, did the video before about China buying up like I think 60% of the global grain, just in general, not even including what they make as well as the rest of the world. They've bought up like 60%, and they're kind of hoarding hell of it. That's going to cause prices to go up, which is already happening. We're in the midst of that inflation. And then as well, supply is going to be less. And as all the not the pre all the government programs kind of ease things for people, like weather away, people are going to get fucked. It's like in New York, the rent, was it not more? Is it moratorium? I can't remember the word, man. But it's like basically you not having to pay your rent since like the start of the pandemic. That's coming to an end. So it's like people are gonna start paying rent. A lot of people don't have jobs. A lot of people even if they're finding jobs, they might not be getting paid enough. There's where it's gonna get peak, and some people are just gonna be like, yo, they're just trying to not work anymore. So this is what the general public is forced to live off products from the Silent Corporation, whose wares contain high-energy vegetable concentrate and are dismissed by one elderly customer as tasteless, odorless crud. Its latest artificial meal is Silent Green, a miracle food of high-energy plankton gathered from the oceans of the world, which is what they say. But it's funny as well because someone actually Silent Green has been made into an actual product, which is, that just shows the sheer level of of insanity, considering it's based off what food from dead bodies, and then someone's actually just made that into a product to sell it. It shows how how completely out there people's minds are. But it says what it proves popular enough to be rationed to a single day of sale per week, but as Thorne discovers, it's not what it seems to be. Yeah, this is one spot at ending, but it says the grizzly is dead bodies. But it says that grizzly denouement didn't deter crowdfunders from investing in software engineer Rob Reinhardt's real-life silent meal replacements in 2013. Yeah, that's the real product. It says Silent today is available in powder and bar form. It meets the FDA's standards for a whole raft of healthy claims. Ars Technica reported in 2014. Silent Nutrition did temporarily stop sales of its powders and bars in 2016 after reports of gastrointestinal illness were traced to the product's use of flour made from algae. Not plankton exactly, but close. So yeah, it's like for people to be fucking with it, it shows like their mind, they're not all the way there, man. But then what? That's what these things are pushing out the vibration of, because the other things are what they say: overcrowding, climate change, assisted dying. I think there's one more, and screen time as well. The bread and circus. So it's like all these things. You basically have coming to pass. So it's like with these films, they're trying to push out that vibration, man. Same thing with they're basically looking to put the capstone like in what's it called? What's the film called? The Handmaid's Tale. They're trying to put the what you call it, the capstone on the pyramid of, on the back of the dollar bill. They're trying to complete their new world order. They're looking to get completed and certified. That's what their aim is, and that's what they push these things out. So when they come out with certain things, people will take it. Their mind's already accustomed to it. And that's the thing, is like, if people start saying like, oh, these guys are trying to do X, Y, Z, it's like, oh, well, you think it's a movie, man, you're just a conspiracy theory. But then, it comes to pass, and then, people are already just like, yeah, but just do it, man, just like, yeah, just simple as hell. But what, actually, let me get this first, because this is Ezekiel 28 and 2. It says, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Most High Power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art man and not God, though thou set thine heart as a heart of God. Yeah, it's basically about what Esau trying to set himself up like he's the Most High. He's basically trying to have it on earth where he's gonna replace the Most High. He's gonna have total control and power over this realm and being able to enact his will, and he's gonna be in power for all time. That's what his desire is. That's what he's trying to make happen. But then it's like, bro, it's not gonna work out in your favor, man. Because as far as it's like he's basically had his limits set, man. He's got a job to do. Well, I get that. Proverbs 16 and 4, it says, the Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. The wicked's been made for the day of evil. Esau's got his job to do. That's what he's gonna do. And that's like, that pretty much sums up. He's, and these things that he's pushing out in these movies, that's part of that wickedness. We get this. Job 20 and 22, it says, in the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. Yeah, when he's about to fill his belly, when all these things are about to come to fruition, all these desires, him having the people with that koragma completely zoned into the system, eating whatever slop he's providing, and permanently grinding within his system. Damn. And when he's been able to exercise that over the whole earth and secure his position to where he's basically no longer he doesn't even have to hide and be in the shadows. He can just be an outright devil and and in power and exercising the power that he has, and no one's able to resist, man. These are the things that he desires. But when he's getting close, because he's gonna get certain things like the Karagma, that's gonna go out, that's gonna be pushed out. But then what this guy's thinking, he's gonna complete all these desires, but when he's about to fulfill them, then the Most High is gonna rain the Fury's wrath upon him. That's gonna come by what? The missiles, man. It says what? He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gore. Terrors are upon him. Yeah, that glittering sword, the missiles, man. They're gonna come out. They're gonna strike. They're gonna do a spectacular job of taking Esau out of power, man. Destroying America, bringing it to an end, man, in 1 hour. It's all that so-called greatness, all that glory that Esau's heaping upon himself, all that so-called hope of him having, you know, the earth in subjection underneath him is going to come to naught as he's about to, you know, fulfill his desires. But that's what, you know, these movies are about, the desires of these elites. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom.